Hello, lovely ladies from the police department. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Listen, for this year's International Women's Day theme, it's called Inspire Inclusion. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about inspiration, but let's start first with your name and what department you work in, and how long you've worked there, and kind of give us a little rundown of what your duties are.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anita Martinez. I've been with the Alice Police Department for 29 years.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Yes.
a support services supervisor. I do everything. No.
Yes.
I assist the chief, office manager,
You run several departments.
several departments. Yes.
Yeah.
Dispatch records, humane.
So
Basically,
you do
all of the civilian
payroll
personnel.
and all of that stuff. And
Not like I used to. Yeah, things have changed. It's evolved now that we have a new system, but
good.
still kind of in charge of monitoring and making sure that things are running the way I guess they're supposed to.
makes life easier
Yeah.
now. So
A little bit.
a little bit. It's still chaotic, I'm sure. Yeah. And how about you?
I'm Leonora Ochoa Trigo, dispatch supervisor. I've worked for the Alice Police Department. I've been there about 10 years in total, because I did leave once and came back. Been the supervisor for about 5 years. I oversee dispatch and making sure that everything runs smoothly and that they're doing their job correctly.
And how many dispatchers do you have?
Right now, we have a total of 6 dispatchers, plus 2 that work in records that help out as well.
And how do you balance a full home life and then all of these duties that you have here at the city? How do you balance that?
Well, I love what I do. So, I keep them separate though. That's my home life and this is my work life. And I do treat my work, it's like my work family. So it doesn't feel like a chore. I love what I do, and the chief says I'm very territorial of my departments, and I am, because I care about them and I'm protective, and I feel like they're my children, I guess.
Yeah, so that, I think a maternal instinct
Yes.
plays a big role in a lot of the way that the women approach their work. It's something that causes you to care for them like a family.
Yes.
Like you said, it's a work family and then you have your own family. But it's always good to keep them separate.
Yes.
You don't want them to mesh together because you do need some decompressed time.
Right.
Yeah. How about you? How are you managing both of those?
Pretty easily. Like Anita says, they're my kids. I take care of them. I watch them. I make sure that they're well taken care of. They're basically my babies. We at our home, it's a law enforcement home. So basically, it's law enforcement at home and law enforcement here. So I don't mix both of them, but it's helpful because I already know what it is to deal
That's
with
right.
being.
And you were a dispatcher at one time as well.
Yes.
Right, so
Yes.
it's a job that's easy for you to
Correct.
step into their shoes
Yeah.
and see it from that perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. Well, I wanted to ask you about personally, if you could name a woman, and it doesn't have to be family member or anything like that. It could be a celebrity, it could be anybody. But if you could, Anita, name a woman that inspires you, and then tell us why.
That would be my grandmother.
Okay.
I told her I was going to get emotional.
Yeah.
She grew up in a time where she, without education or whatever, but she overcame that, became a nurse. Yeah, and then raised us, as well, and always wanted us to be our best. have God in our life, definitely. She was very strong about that. And even though I know that she came from a very poor background, she wasn't going to let that hold her back. And she even learned to read, kind of at an older age.
Yeah.
So
fortitude. She has
yes.
the fortitude.
Yes,
and
she did. She
determination to
had a lot
move
of
herself
determination,
forward.
Yes. She wasn't going to let anything hold her back. She was very independent.
Sounds like a beautiful person.
Yes, she really, really, really was. And she, very free-spirited. Even though my grandpa was a little, your man's man, she wasn't going to let him even stop her. She's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it. And
so she's inspired you to take risks and move forward and
and
do
be
things
strong and
out of your
brave
comfort zone.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So you think, what would my grandma do in this situation? Yeah.
She was very outspoken but very loving, and she was going to say what was on her mind, and if she didn't agree with it, she was going to tell you, and she was going to tell you what was right. And so I got a lot of that from her, and a lot of the things that I still, the advice that she gave me and the things that she taught me, day-to-day life, I take that to heart.
Wow.
Pass it on to my children.
That's lovely. How about you, Leo?
I would have to say my mom. My mom had to get out of school at 6th grade to help her family. She lost her dad at a very young age. So she had to, make sacrifices and, get out of school to work in the fields and stuff and help her mom. She always taught us that no matter what, where there's a will, there's a way. Not to just say, hey, well, I give up. She always taught us to fight for it. To get educated, to believe in ourselves, to be strong, independent women, to work for what we want and we need. She worked her whole entire life, whether it was ironing clothes for people or being a provider or just simply cleaning houses for people and stuff. She never gave up. She got divorced at probably like around 30, 40 years old, about 40. So she never remarried. So she kind of taught us, you don't need a man to, to get through everyday life. You got to push forward and you got to do what you got to do for your kids and for your family.
Yeah. She sounds very inspiring.
Yes. She's definitely a strong woman.
Yeah.
She's a strong woman.
Well, that's awesome. So tell us in some ways that you support other women, especially moving into different career fields. What would you be able to let us know about that?
I always try to tell everybody to go for it. I try to encourage them, be supportive, listen. Like you said, the maternal.
It's a good skill.
Sometimes they feel, and not just, because I work with, men and women. Whoever's needs advice, I'm willing to listen. And sometimes they just want to talk, and I don't always try to throw my advice in there and be like, no, you need to do this. Well, you got to do what's best for you and pray about it, and it'll all work out the way it's supposed to.
That's very good advice. Yeah. How about you, Leo?
I try to encourage them to do their best, to always try to educate themselves in everything. You can never tell yourself I can't, because you can.
Right.
Just trying to be there for them and trying, just to let them know, there's other women out there, and we can help each other. If we can,
right.
we'll push through every battle.
That's right. That's right. Banding together, we are strong.
Yes.
Absolutely. So give us some positive life advice for young women today that may be considering going into police work or dispatch work.
I would have to say, I guess you can do anything. If you work and you put yourself to do it, you can get through it. Always believe in yourself and never give up. You know, and
confident.
yeah, be confident and strong.
Yeah. And what kind of advice do you have? Somebody comes to you and says, you know, I'm thinking about being a police officer. A woman does. What would you say to them?
I'm like, just do it. Go for it, you know. Like Leo said, you know, where there's a will, there's a way. Don't let anybody steal your dreams. Don't let anybody tear you down.
Right.
Don't let them discourage you and tell you that you can't do it, especially because you're a woman or, you know.
Yeah, because there's always going to be obstacles.
Yes. You know, just, and you know what? I said, and if they don't believe in you, then just keep it to yourself and prove them wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good.
Show them.
And where there's a will, there's a way. I like that one because they need to show that they have confidence.
Yes.
And all the naysayers,
Exactly.
bye-bye.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Anything else that would you like to add or?
Just don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. And I know sometimes things don't always go the way that they're supposed to, but there's always a plan and everything will turn out the way it's supposed to be.
I love that. I love that. That really does inspire inclusion, including women in different jobs. And yeah, I love that. Good afternoon, Janine. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy that you're participating in the International Women's Day 2024 this year and our little mini interviews. Thank you. I appreciate that. So first, tell us your name, what department you work in, and how long have you worked for the city?
My name is Janine Bertuca. I work in the library. I'm a reference librarian. It's the best job ever, the best department ever. No offense to anyone else's department, but we have the best department.
Awesome.
Been with the city for 11 years.
11 years. And
Yeah.
reference librarian, you have to have a
master's.
degree,
Yep.
right?
I got a master's and the debt to prove it. No.
Yeah.
But yes, I have a master's degree
Yeah,
in
so
library science.
It does take a lot of time out of your busy schedule from home. How do you balance a home and full work schedule? What do you use to balance that?
I'm glad I got my school done before I had children. That was a big thing for me. I wanted to get that out of the way. I don't know how women do that. Go to school full-time, work full-time, mom full-time.
Very hard.
It's hard to juggle all that. So I tried to get that out of the way first. My husband's great. Not gonna lie. Great support. That's how I do it.
That
You know,
makes a
he gets home
difference.
before me. He helps out. He cooks. I'll do the cleaning. It's all a balance. Like, I do some stuff, he does some stuff, and together we make it work.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So you have a good supportive husband.
I do.
And you can, if you could, name a woman, and it doesn't have to be a woman in your life. It doesn't have to be a relative or anything. It could be a celebrity. But name a woman who inspires you, and tell us why.
Well, mine is long dead. It's Eleanor Roosevelt. I've always admired her. She's a real classy lady, very poised, very graceful. She was well-spoken. She was educated. She started out really shy, didn't really want to speak in front of people, didn't want to get into politics, but, she ended up having to do that, especially when FDR, got diagnosed with polio, and she was his ears. She used to say she was his ears, eyes, and legs. So she had no choice. She had to get into it. She had to be there for him. And she did. She did an amazing job. They had 5 children. Well, they had 6, but one didn't make it. So they had 5 children, and still she was right there for him. She was big on civil rights. She was the first lady to have her own press conference.
Wow.
From someone who was so shy and didn't even want to do it to you're the first one to have your own press
That
conference.
is inspiring,
She had
right?
over 300 press conferences during
Wow.
his presidency. I mean, I'm like, wow, she really was like the backbone of that. And that was a
Awesome.
hard
And
presidency.
she was juggling her home life
Yeah.
and her own personal life as well. So
Yeah.
that is very inspiring.
It is, and she's just very classy. I like that about her. She's not the only woman who inspires me that way, but she's one
You have
that
others?
I do have a bunch,
we
but
all have a lot.
yeah, but she was, as soon as came out, I was like, oh, I know I'm going to do Eleanor Roosevelt. 'Cause I just
Awesome.
love her. Like, my husband and I went to go see FDR's summer home, because we're from New York.
Okay.
So it was in New York. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for the weekend. This was before kids. So we went, saw FDR's house that they shared, and then she had her own cottage like 2 miles away. And I'm like, well, let's go see that too.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It
Really?
was full of
Oh,
mementos from her life. You know, like even her
nice.
chauffeur, like nobody had a bad thing to say about her. She was just so nice and graceful
That's
and
beautiful.
poised. And everything I read, I was like, man, I just really like this woman. She
That's
was
good. Admirable qualities. And she's, you put one of her books out there on the display, didn't you?
did.
I saw that.
I did. I was like, well, I didn't want to like taint it right with my own stuff, and I told him, well, who do we want to put? And Dib's like, well, let's put your lady. that you're
Yeah,
gonna
and I
do."
zoomed in on it to see, and I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
So, tell us one way or multiple ways that you support other women, either trying to get into library science or, municipal service or anything. How do you support women that are wanting to better themselves? What do you do?
Well, and I do this all the time, not just to women, but I think we need to do this as women. I've said this for years. We need to boost each other up. I think we're real easy to be critics of each other and tear each other down. That's ugliness. We don't need to be doing that.
Absolutely.
You need to build, I always try to give someone a compliment, whether it's about how they look, like, oh, I like your dress, I like your earrings, your makeup spot on, or you did a really great job doing this. It's so important
It
to
is.
build each other up, and we don't.
I totally agree.
We don't. So, like, example, I was coming out of the bathroom when we went to New York this summer to visit family. I think it was like a Panda Express or something. Whatever. I was coming out of the bathroom, and there was a lady, and she was just dressed so awesome. Her outfit was spot on. She looked great. So I come out of the bathroom, and I'm like, your outfit looks bomb. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yes, it looks amazing. Spot on. Seriously. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, we need to boost each other up as women instead of tearing each other
That's
down.
right.
And she's like, she looks in the mirror, she goes, we do. We really do. And I'm like, yes, we do. And
So
she walked
you
out of there
were
with,
inspiring
yeah,
at
she
that
walked out
moment.
of that bathroom like this, like, wow. And then thank God my daughter was there. She saw it. She was like, Mom, she did look beautiful. And I'm like, yes, you gotta tell each other
That's
that.
good.
She doesn't know that if you don't tell her, babe.
I like that.
You know?
That's a good way to support other women is to build them up.
Yes, instead of tearing them down. If you have
That's
nothing
right.
nice to say nothing. But you can, if you really look, you can find something nice to say to somebody.
Sure,
You
absolutely.
really can.
So you have a daughter.
I do. She's 8. She's about to be 9.
What kind of advice can you give young women today about how to include others in their circles?
My advice, I'm going to steal from my lady of inspiration, Eleanor Roosevelt. I think about this quote all the time, like a lot. She said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." So true. Don't let anybody tear you down. Like how we tear each other down, don't let them get to you. All of us, all women, are amazing, smart, beautiful, classy women. And we don't let anybody else tell us anything different. And they can't hurt you if you don't let them.
Yeah.
So you have to be confident about yourself so that they don't get that permission.
I like
to
that.
hurt you.
Have confidence.
Yes, it's so
That's really
important.
good. I like that. Does your daughter follow your advice?
Oh yeah, she's always giving compliments. The
Oh,
first time
that's
she
good.
did, she was like, she told somebody she liked their earrings, and they were like, really? And I said, Jade, her name's Jade. Jade, you probably made that woman's day. She goes, I did.
See,
I
and
said, "You
that's a
can
good thing to teach young ladies how
Yes.
to, build other women up and watch the reaction. It does cause you. When I get a compliment, I walk a little straighter,
Yeah.
a little taller.
Builds a little bit more of that confidence.
Yeah.
It really does. And so I tell her to do that, and she does. I don't have to tell her anymore, like she does it on her own.
Now
She'd
she's
be like,
on her
oh,
own.
Mom, I really liked her lipstick. So I told her. I was like, what did she say? She said, thank you. She was smiling. I was like, yeah, that's all it takes, babe.
See, that's the way to do it.
It is.
Welcome, ladies. Thank you for participating in the International Women's Day 2024 Inspire Inclusion theme. We are grateful that you took your time to come and talk to us about, what inspires you and how you can inspire others to include women in different activities and things. First, let me go ahead and ask you, what is your name? What department do you work in, and how long have you worked here?
Okay, well, my name is Melissa Bettis. I work in the HR department, and I'm a risk manager. And I've been here a little over 5 years.
Okay.
And I'm Nellie Sedna, and I'm the Deputy City Clerk, and I've been here about 3 years.
Okay, awesome. So when we're talking about inspiring inclusion, normally what we ask people is, who inspires you, and what can you do to inspire others? So with that being in mind, what I'd like to ask you is, and this doesn't have to be a family member or a friend, it could be a celebrity, it could be anybody, but tell me what woman has inspired you and tell us why.
I actually thought about this yesterday, and I thought about one person, which is my best friend, Alicia. But the more I started thinking about this question, I actually have more than one person.
Good.
And my two sisters. One sister passed away in 2004 of cervical cancer. Just the bravest person, very strong through the end. I have another sister that's still with us, and just their strength is what inspires me. My best friend Alicia, who is from Ben Bolt, she's a teacher, mother, and just her honesty, her way of just being a good listener, and just being there for me no matter, through thick and thin, just kind of talking to me, laying it out there. Those are the three people that come to mind.
They inspire
Yes,
you.
yes.
That's very good. How about you, Nellie?
Well, I too couldn't think of just one person, so I was like, that's cool that I have like so many people,
Sure.
women that
Yeah,
inspire
absolutely.
me. So what I look for in that, or what inspires me, are people who they persevere through challenges and they keep going, and they show like unconditional love and compassion and non-judgmental, and so those things really inspire me, and I have many people like that in my life. So of course my mother, I have an aunt, well I have several aunts and stuff, but some of them too are cancer survivors. One, she fought a valiant fight, and she made the best of her life all through it, and it was very
Despite the
inspiring.
challenges.
Yes, because she suffered a lot, and she stayed very
Right.
positive and strong.
That's fortitude. That's
Fortitude,
yeah.
exactly. That's
That's
exactly right.
awesome. That is really cool. So if you had some positive life advice to give a young woman who's thinking about either going into municipal service or just getting out there and getting a higher education, what kind of life advice could you give a young lady today?
I think that, like, regardless of what they want to pursue in their career or education, that I would just want them to know that, like, they're enough, and that they have dignity, and that their worth doesn't come from somebody else. And so I think it's real important that if we kind of understand that, it helps us wherever we go, and I would tell them to surround themselves with good people that bring them up and not
Positivity.
tear them down. Like, is there joy, is there peace in the relationship, do you feel built up? And so just to try to look for those things, because we can know if things are good for us or bad for us by that. And if they feel like anybody's tearing them down or mistreating them, or they feel like they're not worthy, or anger or sadness, I would say,
Leave that behind.
get away from that.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like that message. What about you, Melissa?
And I think mine ties in a little bit with what Nellie's saying. Don't let your past dictate your future. Like myself, I was born in very kind of low income areas. We're very poor household. There was a lot of, alcoholism, things like that around me. And I just, as I was growing up, going to high school, and of course I met my husband at an early age. So he always was kind of inspired me to, go, try this sport, and, kind of swayed me to always want more. So I think, have goals, never give up, keep fighting for those goals, and always wanting more of life.
Yeah.
Never settling.
I
Just
like
keep
that
striving
too.
and wanting more.
And I like that the past doesn't dictate your future.
Yes,
Because
yes.
everybody has gone through hard times
Yes.
or had incidences where it can let it get you down.
Yes.
but you got to persevere and just
Yeah.
move forward. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that positive message. So tell me one way or multiple ways that you support other women in your life.
Well, what I try to practice is just being kind. I think being kind to other women, no matter who they are, where they come from, how close of a relationship you have with them, but just being kind, saying good morning if you know that they need help, offering that help. Just to create that relationship, whether it's a professional relationship or a personal relationship. But I think kindness goes a long way.
Oh, it does. Absolutely.
And it coming from your heart.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just what I try to do every day.
Showing
Yes.
genuine
Saying
caring and
kindness
kindness.
and caring,
I like
offering.
that.
Yeah.
For sure. I feel the same way. Like, I think it's important that we're kind to everyone that we meet, and I think that it's real important to understand that everybody's coming from somewhere, and so we all need to like show a little mercy
Right,
to each
we all
other,
have our struggles
and not
and
to
our
be
battles.
like catty or try to push somebody
Judgmental.
down or judging or something like that. So I really try to do that, and I'm involved with high school and even adult women and middle school women, just in prayer groups and Bible studies and stuff like that. So I try to really, be a positive example, and
That's
Positive
good.
role model.
kind of just, it starts really good communication and dialogue, and I think
Women
it's
can be very hard on themselves.
yes, they can.
And it's good to have a positive person in your life that can help lift you and support you when you need that support.
Right, and that
Yeah.
nobody's perfect. So it helps in groups, like when you surround yourself,
Yes, yes.
that you're like, okay, it's okay. We
Yeah,
make
it's
mistakes.
okay to
we're
not
not
be
perfect.
okay, and-
Nobody is, and we're,
I
we'll
love
just
that.
keep going.
That's awesome. Hello, ladies of finance. I'm glad to have you here supporting International Women's Day 2024. What I'd like to do is start out by asking you your name, what department you're in, and the job that you do, and how long you've been doing it. So if we could go around the table, starting wherever, it's fine.
I can start.
Okay.
I'm Vanessa Torres, the Finance Department, and I'm the Deputy Finance Director, maybe about 8 years. But I've been with the city for 17 years.
Wow.
Blanca Chapa. I do payroll and benefits. I've been back for 5 years.
So you worked for the city before?
Yes.
Okay.
Would have been 9 years, I think, total.
Total?
9 years.
Yeah, mine. My name is Terry Vasquez. I am the accountant for the finance department for the city of Alice, and I have been in this position, I think we said
I've done
7
accounting
years.
Since 2016.
I've been with the city for 10, and I've done accounting for about 15 years.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Revia, and I'm an accountant with the City of Alice. I'm in the finance department. I've been with the city for a year.
So you're one of the new ones?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I'm Desiree Conchola. I am the Purchasing Administrator and the Internal Auditor here for the city, and I'm with the Finance Department. I have been here for about 7 months.
Ooh, so you're the new one.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, wanted to talk to you since the theme this year is Inspire Inclusion. I wanted to kind of talk to you about a woman in your life. It doesn't have to be a family member or, like that. It could be a friend, it could be a celebrity, a woman that has inspired you, and then tell us why.
Well, I think we've all kind of talked about this question. I think this was an easy and a hard question for all of us to answer because we've kind of talked about it. We, of course, all want to say our mothers because they're the first woman that we see in our lives that does everything. But I know personally I'd like to say, any woman that I come across inspires me. I try to draw inspiration and knowledge from them, and whether it be a good example or a bad example, I'd like to use them in my life as a way to grow.
I like the way that inspires you to be better, even if it's a bad example, because then you know what not to do.
What not to do.
That's
And I
good.
think also our moms, they've known us since day one, since we were in there. Well, they know us inside and out more than anybody else in the world.
Yeah.
And so they're the person we've looked up to since we were little. And I feel like personally, my mom, she inspires me to grow and to live up to the potential that I have and to continue
That she
to
knows
grow.
that you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, mothers are a very
Absolutely.
important person in our lives. Like you
Biggest
said, they're
cheerleaders.
the first woman that we have as an example of how to conduct ourselves in society, how to be in life, what to aspire to, you know. So yeah, I love that. That's great. So how do you support other women? Like, what do you do that would be that would show support for other women?
I think honesty is the best, like true friendships and true people that truly care about you are going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it's supporting them in that, whether they're right or wrong or what may happen. I mean, I think that we should support each other in that no matter what.
And I think that's the good dynamic that we have in our department. We all are very honest with each other, and
Whether it's good or bad.
whether it's good or bad.
You have to. You have
Yeah,
to.
and I think that's
Girl, what are you wearing today?
Yeah, really though. But I think that's what ties our relationship on a personal level and on a professional level. Like we can also tell each other, hey, you didn't do this part right, or you could have done this differently, or you could have said this differently if it was a professional setting, as well as, hey, you know, my kids are going through this and that, or, you know, I had to deal with my parents with this, and, you know, I need your advice, or I just need somebody to talk to. So we've grown a really good relationship, I think, just within our department.
Definitely.
And I think too,
Definitely.
we celebrate each other.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
to hear
That's awesome.
things that, you know, our kids are doing or ourselves. Like, we enjoy hearing these and we're always cheering each other on. Like, hey, how did this go? Or, and it's the little things that you know that are happening in their lives and you want nothing for the best.
Yeah.
For.
Achievements. and-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So whenever like there comes a time where somebody has something that's pending and they're having a struggling time with it, they're not able to understand it, it's great when you can assist them and help them see it, and when they finally get it, it's your celebration as well.
We've
Absolutely.
Yeah.
we've done
And
all of
sometimes
that.
it's
Yeah.
a group effort because
Yeah.
I might think of something, but Terry thought of something else, or
Yeah.
Vanessa or Desiree.
And you just
or-
implement it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because Desiree and Vanessa are, you know, newer to our department, you know, I know at times they've come to us frustrated or worried that they're not catching on. And, you know, I always make it a point, Vanessa makes it a point also to remind them, hey, you know, we might know or seem like we know so much more than you, but it took us all these years to get here, you
And
know.
it's usually from mistakes that we've made.
Yeah.
That we've made mental notes like, hey, don't forget this, don't forget this.
So it's just constantly encouraging each
So
other
whenever you have
also.
somebody new that comes along, it's like not a burden for you to bring them in and say,
No, it's
let's learn together. Let's show you what we know. And
we
we
learn-
and sometimes
learn
we
from
don't know.
time permitting,
Yes, I know.
time permitting, yes.
Yeah, but we're learning something new every
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Yeah. It's always a
it
new
helps the department.
situation.
It is,
That's
so it helps.
Yeah. So you guys' department runs pretty well, like a well-oiled machine.
I would think
for the
so.
most
I
part.
would-
You'd have to
say-
ask Gabe, but
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what
he would be the
Gabe
judge of
would.
that. But we'd like to think we could, you know, kind of be given a
Because
task or a
everybody has
project
their
and we're good.
weaknesses, their strengths, and that's what kind of gets us going together.
That's good. I
Everybody
like
picks
that.
up each other.
Yeah.
Each other.
Yeah.
So if you could give any positive life advice for young women today that are thinking about going into a field like finance, whether it's accounting or purchasing, auditing, anything like that, what kind of positive advice could you give a young lady today?
I would say love yourself, because it's important to take care of yourself, to love yourself, and that way you can share that with others and other women. And I think it's important to advocate for other women and cheer them on. Continue to work hard, do what you want, do it in a way that inspires others as well.
I love that. That's totally inspiring inclusion, which is the theme for this year. I love that. Telling women to love themselves and self-care is very important, and it does resonate with other people. When you're a happy individual in your core, it does show, and it inspires other people to do the same thing. What about you?
Mine was be someone you would look up to.
believe in yourself, and don't conform to society.
Yeah.
Have confidence.
Have
Yeah.
confidence no matter what society is telling you. Just, if that's what you want to do, you do it.
I know I tell my kids it's okay to be different from everybody else.
Yes.
You know, the people that are different from the crowd are usually the ones that people gravitate towards, and they want to kind of have in their circles, and they kind of want to have in their, even in their professions, you know, somebody that thinks outside the box. So even if somebody calls you, you know, whatever they call kids that don't fit in nowadays, you know, it's not a bad thing. Accept your differences, celebrate your differences, and, you know, be proud of them.
It's perfectly
Yeah.
okay to be different.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
tell my kids the same thing.
Perfectly okay.
Yeah, because my kids are very different.
Very encouraging.
So are mine.
Yeah.
I think all of our
Our
kids
kids,
are.
yeah.
And women specific, don't race the other women. Be in a race with yourself.
And don't give up.
Yeah, don't compare yourself to
Don't
other
put
women.
others down so you can feel better about yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know.
Support women when they're not in the
Yeah.
room.
Yes.
Be
Yes.
the woman that
Yeah,
supports them to their face and
Exactly,
and another,
yes.
you want to make sure that you have people like that in your corner, because it really does help you achieve so much when you have a great support system and when you surround yourself with people that want
And just that
better for
positivity.
you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And then also, I mean, that's unity. So when you're not around someone, but you're still supporting them, it changes your perspective as well. You start to think, wow, this is a good thing to be supportive, to be cheering people on, to help others. You're right. It's not a race. It's not a race. We all need to stick together. Well, ladies, I thank you for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. Can we strike the Inspire Inclusion pose? There we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.